This is the Retirement Solution Podcast with financial advisor Jon Hicks, founder of J. Hagan Capital.
John, all we do is talk about retirement in these conversations that you and I have together.
It's boring, isn't it?
No, it's not.
No, it's actually, I was thinking just the other day, I want to retire one day.
Nope. Denied.
Not tomorrow.
Denied. Declined. Pushing the no button. Denied.
Yeah, I know, but it's the first time that I thought, one day I want to live the life I keep talking to all my clients about.
There is that.
I was like, man, I could do an African safari. I could do a Mediterranean river cruise for 30 days. I could rent a whole lake house and let all my family come at various times when they could come see me. We can take out the bass boat. We can take out the pontoon boat. I'm like, man, who doesn't want to live that life? Ooh, I could snowbird. I could go to the places where it's warm when it's cold here, and I could go to someplace cold when it's warm there. I could do anything within reason that I wanted.
And
who doesn't want to do that?
And also you're like, man, I sure do have a lot of good ideas for everybody else.
For everybody else. I got great ideas for everybody else. For me, nope, not so good.
Denied. Declined.
I'm going to get up at 6 and start doing what I do again.
Well, when it comes to this space that you exist in, there are obviously others that have come before you. And you all do. You deserve your day when it finally comes. And even Warren Buffett is saying, I've had enough. I'm going to retire. 95 years old.
He's put in his time.
He has.
95.
Yes.
95 years old. Warren Buffett is going to be 95 years old.
It's a fake retirement.
He doesn't look a day over 92. He looks great.
He's not even fully retiring, though.
And he still eats McDonald's and Coca-Cola every day. I mean, take that.
Simplicity.
All of those physicians out there, it's just like, man, what do you say? You can't. You guys got good genes.
Keep it simple. He is retiring at the end of this year. He will be 95 years old. The Oracle of Omaha himself has stood by some very basic, if you will, investment rules. And these are three main points he is always touting and laying his laurels upon. 1, research your stocks. Know what you are buying and hold them. 2, do not let emotions or politics guide your investment decisions. And 3, above all, do not lose money. Now, and I understand that overall goal of not losing money, of course, when it comes to our market investments. We know that there are ups and downs involved in that, John. But does this investment style still hold up today?
Absolutely. So a lot. I've done a lot of research about Warren Buffett's strategy, and most people aren't maybe aware that he studied under Benjamin Graham, who wrote The Intelligent Investor. I mean, it felt like it was the turn of the century. It wasn't quite that long ago, but he was also his professor at Columbia, so pretty smart guys from the very beginning. But one of the things that Warren Buffett was what they call a value investor, and value investing has not been nearly as good as growth investing recently. But this is what I'm saying. I've done a lot of research on this recently.
Okay.
What he's really saying is when he's saying, hey, select good companies and hold them for the long run, here's what he's saying. It has nothing to do with individual stocks. It has to do with, hey, make a plan and stick to it. That's really what he's talking about. Because if you look at the way he wants his money managed when he's gone for his wife, they want to own exchange-traded funds, which is the whole basket, like the Standard & Poor 500, and just hold it. So when you think about it, what he's saying is, hey, have a plan, like invest in good quality American companies, and stick with it. Hold it for the long run, right? So that's the biggest thing, because a lot of people get very precise and fixated. We talked a minute ago about people getting fixated on things. Basically, just get a plan and stick with it, because it'll probably work in the long run. It's when you jump on and off plans that stink. But I think what you asked was, do those things that he talked about still hold up? Yeah. I mean, make a plan and stick with it. Don't let emotions get involved, and don't lose too much money, right? Yeah. If you think about it, those are timeless. I mean, whether he said them, I bet they were said 800 years ago by someone else in a different country, in a different language. I'm sure the Greeks said something about that too, because they are just timeless thoughts. 800 years from now, whenever we're speaking Klingon or whatever we're going to be speaking, I have no idea. But whenever we're doing all that, my guess is those will still be good. Hey, have a plan. Stick to that blasted plan. Don't let your emotions screw everything up, and don't lose too much money. I mean, that's almost like you could almost use those rules for anything. Dating. I'm thinking about my 15-year-old daughter. It's kind of like, make a plan, stick to it. Don't date a bozo. I mean, that's what that basically means. Get your emotions out of it. I mean, you need some emotions, but don't get too emotional. Don't get too emotional, and don't lose too much money.
Right.
Basically, don't let him rip you off. Don't pay for it. Go Dutch. Go Dutch. But I think those are all pretty good. So, and if you really think about it, they weather the test of time.
Okay.
Now, what I would say is there's a lot of actionable things that you can do based on a lot of things that Buffett did as well. When he's talking about not losing money, I want to kind of focus on this one for a second.
Okay.
A lot of people have used that incorrectly by trying to push products. And I don't think that that's the right way to utilize that phrase, don't lose money. Basically, don't lose money you can't afford to lose, right?
Okay.
This is a perfect segue in why we in our office talk about bucketing, right? So most of us, if we think about it, we should have, if we're getting close to retirement, like between 3 and 5 years to retire, or we're already retired, we should be thinking about our money in the form of buckets. The first bucket is money that we're going to need to use that year. So what's going to be included in that? Well, if we got Social Security check coming in, that's going to be in that bucket. We get some Airbnb income, some rental income, that goes in that bucket. And if we get some dividends and stuff that pay in because we're going to need to spend that money, that goes in that bucket. We're going to use that every year. That's what we're going to live off of. Okay? Bucket number one.
Okay.
Bucket number two, what I call the middle bucket, this is bucket that we need to produce that income that we're going to spend next year, right?
Right.
We need it to produce that money. So maybe this is that rental property that's producing that income, right? Or maybe this is those good quality equities that produce dividends, or these are bonds that pay a payment, or these are CDs that we can rely on to pay that income. That middle bucket is the money that we know we need to generate that income that we want to spend. Most people I have found do not bucket mentally for that middle bucket. They don't have it. What they do is they just put all their portfolio together and say, I'm going to spend about 4% a year. I'm just going to pick at that bucket. I'm going to sell stuff if I need to, just pick at that bucket, and I'm going to spend whatever I pick at.
Okay.
Guys, that's unfortunately, it's what most of us do. It's just, I don't know. Maybe it's the mentality. Maybe it's the human mind, how we think about things. But it's not very efficient. Because when Warren Buffett's idea was don't lose money that you can't afford to lose, we cannot afford to lose that middle bucket. Why? Because it's what we need to produce our income so we can live in retirement. Now, the third bucket, the last one, is what I see most people have their money in. It's what we call the later bucket. This is like your 401k. You got, small cap, mid cap, large cap, international, bonds, cash, whatever you got, all those things. And it's what are we putting in that 401k for? For later. We're building up that bucket, and it's growing and growing and growing and growing, because one day we're going to need it to produce an income for us so we can live in retirement. But most people, they just put everything in that growth bucket in their mutual funds or whatever they own, and they just pick at it. And guys, that's unfortunately where things mess up. So one of the greatest things that Warren Buffett talked about was don't lose money. He's talking about, in my world, what I say is he's talking about that middle bucket. We need to be certain that middle bucket we can't lose. It's either insured against loss, like FDIC, or it's insured by an insurance company, or it's fully protected, or it's collateralized, or it's guaranteed. Whatever those terms you want to use, we want to make certain it can't evaporate because of tariff talks or because of another technology meltdown, or whatever the reasoning is, right? So we're starting to engage in a little bit more dialogue right now, at least the administration is, with China. Some of it's good, some of it's not so good. And so when you think about that, could that potentially cause an effect to our economy? Maybe. Hopefully it won't be a bad effect, but it could. And we need to make sure that that middle bucket can produce income no matter what happens with China or Russia or any of these things. We have no idea what the markets are going to do, but we need to know that we can't afford to lose money in that middle bucket. And if we just understand 3 buckets, some we have to spend this year, some we have to make sure we can't lose so it can give us income later, and the other one, the last bucket, the later bucket, is for growth. If we just use those, and this is a kind of a Buffett commentary, if we do it that way, we will have a very successful retirement as long as our math works out.
Understanding how to bucket your savings and investments. It seems it is a simple concept, but it's not necessarily easy to figure out on your own. So if you want to start this conversation with Jon and his team, we encourage you to do so. Visit us at retirementsolutionshow.com. We also have links posted in the show notes. Thinking about all the points you were just making and understanding how we don't want to lose money. But in a world that we're living in where we're living 20, 30, 40 years in retirement, we do have to have some market investments. So we've got to find a way to grow the money through our retirement years. But still, we've got volatility. We've got new asset classes creeping in like crypto. AI is going to continue to drive all kinds of new things in the future, Jon. How can a retiree balance traditional wisdom, like what Mr. Buffett says, with modern opportunities?
Yeah. So I think there's a difference between diversification and speculation.
Okay.
So, when it comes down to a lot of like crypto stuff and AI, a lot of it just isn't, proven yet. So there's a difference. Don't say, hey, here's about 80 crazy ideas out there. I'm just going to throw a little bit of money at all of them. That may not be all that great. So, again, if we understand our buckets and we know that the money that we can't afford to lose, we won't lose. We can take a little bit of risk. We can choose to. And again, up to our risk tolerance, right? But I think that there are some really great technology companies that can do some really awesome stuff in the future. And if you look at what some of these companies may be able to do, could they easily double or triple or even 10 times your money over a period of time? I literally think they can. Now, do we want to put all of our money in it? No, because we can't afford to lose all of our money. But does it make sense to use portions like 3 to 5% of our portfolio in something like that over time? Yeah, it's wise. That's how he did so well, over time. He invested in quality companies that had the opportunity to grow a lot. And that's exactly what we want to do. We just want to make sure, again, when it comes to market-based investments, they go up and they go down, all of them. Yeah. Nothing only goes up and very few things only go down unless they go bankrupt. But most of those things we can have in our portfolio. We just have to be wise about which bucket we put it in.
Understanding how to add layers of protection to that money that you can't afford to lose, thinking about your income streams while also embracing modern opportunities. Now more than ever, it's only going to continue to become more and more complex for people that are in retirement to understand how to move successfully through this next phase of your financial life. But you don't have to do it by yourself. Jon and his team, J. Hagan Capital, they are here to help. So visit us at retirementsolutionshow.com or just click on the links we got posted in the show notes.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Solution Podcast with Jon Hicks. Begin the conversation about your savings plan with Jon and the team at J. Hagan Capital by visiting retirementsolutionradio.com. Be sure to listen to Jon's radio show, The Retirement Solution, Saturdays at 8 a.m. and Sundays at 9 a.m. on News Radio 840 WHAS.
J. Hagan Capital Incorporated is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if J. Hagan Capital Incorporated is licensed in your state, please call 502-690-5635. J. Hagan Capital Incorporated is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through J. Hagan Capital, LLC, NPN number 188279094.